Oh my God. Have you ever been having a heart to heart with your camera that made you cry? And you're like, oh man, I'm gonna be really vulnerable. And then you're like, I was on the camera setting, and when I pushed the button, I just took a fucking picture. Oh my God. I made some good points. I would like you to know that for the last 10 minutes when I thought I was filming, I was really funny, and also my makeup was completely done, and I was 15, 20, 30 pounds lighter. So that we know. I'm sorry. We're gonna do some updates. This is Banner. He turns 5 this year. I already did his update in that period of time. You know, the photo that I took. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those days. So Banner's doing really good. He's 5. He may or may not have arthritis. We don't know. Occasionally he gets colitis. He's retired. He's a retired champion. We brought him home during the pandemic. He came home to us a little, very little over a month after we lost Buddy, um, which is a story that I should probably talk about. Let's do a big update. Okay, so when I was posting more regularly, I tried to feature Buddy when I would film, mostly because mostly because Buddy would feature himself. He was that guy. Um, in the family, we refer to him as like the Jim Belushi of dogs. He lived really hard. He lived every day like it was his last. And just after he turned 5, he came downstairs one day and it seemed like he had pulled a muscle. And it turns out that the vet found a lump underneath his arm, front leg, whatever. Dogs have arms, okay? I'm gonna say this specifically because I'm currently snuggling a dog that has fingies, and thank God he doesn't have thumbs. yeah, you have fingies. Yes, you do. He has fingies. Okay, he has fingies. See this? No, show them your fingies. These are fingies. He uses them like fingies. They're fingies. Um, anyway, it was a mast cell tumor. And when they appear under the skin, they are almost certainly, unfortunately, fatal because they move fast, they move hard, and because you need at least 2 centimeters around them for a margin. I'm not a veterinarian. That was the consideration from UPEI's oncology department, who took care of him. So, so we lost him, and Socks really struggled, and really struggled, and she was not okay. And in case anybody wants to know, I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but thanks, Odie. This is Odie. Odie came to us in November. He is 7 months old. He is trying to eat my hair almost constantly. He is made of love, but also... What are you doing? But also has no manners. Okay. Odie is not technically a line relation of either Buddy or Banner. I'm sorry. Bear with me a moment. He is attached to my hair. Whoa. Okay. So, you know what? I'm just going to keep talking through this beagle. So, Banner is actually a half... Ow! A half sibling of Buddy on his mom's side. They're the same mom. That's what that means. Way to repeat things. Oh, that's still my hair. Yes, I do know that dogs dogs bite their butts. So you shouldn't let them lick your face. I co-sleep with mine, and she regularly stomps on me. So Odie is 7 months. He is a boy. So he just had his neuter a couple weeks ago. It didn't faze him in the least. Now we're going to do a check-in on the big girl. So, and then that's still Odie. But he's not jealous. So Socks is 12 and a half now. Odie, that's my arm. Ow, ow, ow. That's your dew claws. That's your, ow, ow, ow. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, Odie still has dew claws. Because in Nova Scotia, you can't remove them anymore. I should say, I don't have a problem with that. Socks still has her dew claws. I think they didn't want people doing them, the breeders doing them at home, because they're like so easy to do apparently. That's not for, listen, I don't have to agree with it. I'm just telling you, people do it. And now in Nova Scotia, if you're found to have done it, it carries a very large fine. So it's no longer a thing. Banner retired as a stud. He would have been a house dog, like in the sense that the breeder would have kept him. He's such a good boy. He is such a big, big, soft heart. But he didn't get on with the current head of her household as far as the boys go. Her current oldest dog she has in the house is a gentleman named Gus. And Gus has a lot of attitude. If I didn't say, these boys are from Shillington in Stewiacke, Nova Scotia. She has a huge long waiting list if you see these boys and you're like, those are beautiful beagles, I would like 7 of them. Which, to be fair, it sounds really weird because I'm telling you that, like, there's a huge long waiting list, but also this week I'm going to be picking up our 4th Shillington as a family. Her name is Fizz. She is one of Banner's half-sisters. She turns 4 on the 8th of April. She is a sass machine, and on the first meeting, as soon as she was allowed out of her kennel, right after we lost Buddy, she put paw up on my knees and just immediately just booped and went nose to nose and just looked me right in the eye. That's my girl. That's my dog. She was telling me, you're my human. Theoretically, we'll see how she feels. She'll probably fall in love with my mom and hate me. I don't know. My experience of bringing a puppy home was Socks, who was absolutely my ex-husband's dog. And still to this day, loves men and people who declare they hate dogs. And tolerates me, unless she's not feeling well. But actually, in her old age, she has, that's my girl. Oh, I see. You want things fixed. She was telling me she would like her blankets fixed. Anyway, I'm going to keep talking to you, but I'm also going to put you in this bowl so that you can watch me until, inevitably, you fall down. Oh, that's actually not bad. Plus, it looks like I've done something artistic when really you're just in a very fancy bowl. That was a gift from our real estate agent. Which, by the way, I would like to say, if you're a real estate agent and you're like, what do people want? Well, not this. People don't want this. Oh, you're trying. I'm sorry. No, you have sharp little claws. I love you. Let me fix your mess. Oh, dogs. Odie, that's still my leg, and I still, Odie, no means no. No means ow. No means no. No means no. It really does mean no. Come here. I love you. I love you. I don't want that. No, I don't want that. Seriously, if this video ever goes to Zach George, what do I do? I taught that dog how to be a good dog. Help! He's just so humpy. Buddy, could you not? Could you? This is the dew claws that make it the worst too. We were just discussing the dew claws. Let me explain to you about the dew claws. This is what they're for. Ow! Ow! But I love you. He is fixed. He is fixed. He literally had his surgery less than a month ago. Apparently. What is it, Odie? Never give up. Never surrender. Well, no. Anyway. So, this channel, I've had this channel for 10 years. This is a point I'm making to you that I made to you when you were not filming. Not you, me, when I was not filming. It's a point I made when I was not filming a minute ago. Should I chance it and put you on the coffee machine? Well, we're gonna. Okay, we're gonna do a little tidy up while I'm doing this. Okay. Actually, it's probably not a good place. Also, forgive me. If you're Canadian and you're experiencing winter and you also just came in from outside for shoveling off the entire deck and all the stairs, that your elder dog could go downstairs because that's why she wasn't going downstairs. Did you do all that too? And now you've got a runny nose? And then, my favorite part is, you went outside with your elder dog. You went outside with your elder dog to see if your elder dog would use the stairs. And she said no. By the way, I have a TikTok. It's also terrible, but I post there more. And do you want to know why? Because I'm lazy. I'm not even going to lie. TikTok makes it really easy to post. And it's not like I'll ever be part of the Creator Fund. I mostly just want to talk about, well, I don't even know. I post random shit on there. Mostly I duet things and then I react to when millennials, younger millennials, and Gen Zers call elder millennials old because we were born in the late 1900s. I mostly react to that. I'm almost 40. What do you want from me? So yeah, so that's, let's see, big updates. The year before last, I made the decision in earnest to look at buying a house. And in case you're wondering, I made that decision about 24 hours before the market exploded in Nova Scotia. Because it turns out that if you make Toronto or Vancouver money, you can afford, well, you used to be able to afford probably like in the region of 8 to 9 normal Nova Scotian homes. And I mean, that's not true anymore because they, yeah. But also, I'm going to say this right now. If you are from Toronto or Vancouver and you are still looking at buying a house down here and you are trusting a real estate agent, don't. Listen, I'm going to tell you this for free. I knew this was going to be a problem because I come from a family of shady people. There's nowhere I can put you. I am so bad at this. Anyway, I come from a family of shady people. Okay. Specifically, mostly my dad. My dad comes from very shady folk. My parents both come from a part of the province that is historically not well off. I mean, that's fair. It's Nova Scotia. Historically not well off, but also historically, yeah, shady. Like I said shady, I meant shady. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, other Nova Scotians. They're from, like, my dad's from Joggins and my mom's from Amherst. And, Like, I can't apologize for it. Like, it's the truth. They come from shady stock. Where can I put you? I want to put you down. I see these people all the time doing stuff. You know what? This is the problem. I watched Beatrice Caruso videos again this week, and I said to myself, Bea works really hard, and she puts out good content, but then she actually edits. Maybe I should do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Clear the timer. Let's see. Updates. Yes, I will be doing a segment. Are these clean? Did I clean these? Yes! Oh, good job, past Sarah. She put the dishes on. Fucking nay. Anyway, so yes, I've been watching Beatrice Caruso. If you're not watching Bea, you should watch Bea. She's really funny. Also, I love Douglas. And people need to stop making me want a yellow lab. Because I've discovered that the best... Oh, let's see if I can... I want to show you guys Buddy, because you can see him right here. There we go. Can you see him there? There he is. For the record, I have a professional quality photo. Okay, so a buddy of mine does photography on the side. And see this? This was just a test. He was just using Buddy as a test for, like, you know, lighting. And every time he'd go to take a picture, there would be Buddy photobombing. That was who Buddy was. Like I said, did I say it on the recording? No, I didn't. Buddy was the Jim Belushi of dogs. He really was. He lived every day, like it was his last. That was his thing. Also, it occurs to me that I'm moving a lot. You can see photos. So I, like many divorced elder millennials, live with my parents. I have historically, because it never seemed like my career would ever make enough money for me, a disabled singleton, to ever own a home. So it turns out that's not necessarily true. I mean, until the robots take all of our jobs, thankfully, my strong suit is that, especially as far as captioning and transcription goes, which are my main sources of income, since, again, I may not have said this in the recording. As of right now, filming this, I have 102 subscribers, and I'm fairly certain like 50 are bots. I don't know for sure, but like, if you're not a bot and you're seeing this and you've watched this far, you're probably only Minty and her sister if you're still watching. And also, I always forget your proper name. I literally have a Facebook message from you. I don't know why, Mrs. I suck. Also, we were supposed to meet up one time. Didn't do that. Gonna tell you right now. Totally remembered we were gonna do that. Didn't do it out of any kind of like tacky, I have a minuscule following on the internet, I'm too good for you. It's literally because I have social anxiety and I barely make it out of my house to see my own friends that I know really well, who know how weird I am and have gotten used to it. So the idea of making another human have to get used to how weird I am seemed like a dick move. But, and then we had a pandemic. That was like 3 years ago that you messaged me and we were going to do a thing. And I wanted to say publicly right now, here and now, you are cool. I do think you're really, really awesome. I like the content you put out. I met you in person. You're really nice. You are a nice human. I don't know if you're still working at Sephora. I hope wherever and whatever you're doing, because I haven't looked you up in a little while, that you're doing good. Although I'm very concerned that Sephora might have not been, you know, how can I put it, as supportive as like Lush was with its employees. I never heard of Sephora made sure to pay its staff the whole way through the pandemic. just gonna assume they didn't since they had such great reviews from people who worked for them previously. But hey, I can hope. Also, everywhere I move, the lighting gets weird, which is going to make up for the fact that I'm sure the white balance is completely buggered on this. Also, a reminder if you're watching this and you're new, and again, you've made it this far, probably just Minty and her sister, colorblind. So if it's gone a really weird color at any point through the video because of the lighting or anything else, yeah, it's my fault. So, a couple of things. I have a TikTok. It's terrible. I'll put it in the down bar. I have a Twitter. I never use it. I have a Fitbit account. I'll try and put the link there in case you are a Fitbit user and you're like, this offers me the ability to have social connections, but I don't know anybody that uses this because all my friends are hipsters and they all have Apple Watches. Are you also in that boat? I'm in that boat. Even my brother has an Apple Watch now, which is, I mean, that makes sense. He's been an Apple homeboy for better part of a decade now, since he had to decide which his family was going to go with and if he was going to have to do tech support for teenagers and old people. It was going to be Apple, which, to be fair, is exactly why I wanted my parents to have Apple phones years ago, so that I didn't have to be their tech support on Android. And so finally, they are. That's a lie. My mom is. My dad is on an off-brand. I can't even remember. I think it's like a... I always want to say it's like Alcatel, but that's not right. Mostly because that sounds like they would sell cheap, like, alcoholic beverages. Will you stay there? Okay. Now, I'm going to look and see. Oh, okay. You can only see a little bit of the book that I'm using to hold you up. In case you're wondering, you're on top of oh, I'm probably covering the microphone, aren't I? Oh, yeah, it's probably covering the microphone. It's okay. I'm loud, so hopefully this works. You're currently on top of a container of apricots and being held up by a copy of The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt with 2 T's, which I heard was a really good book, and I picked up at the bank. Pro tip, if you are a reading enthusiast and you live in Canada, most BMOs have all my friends who go to other banks don't know about this. So at least all the Bank of Montreal's I'm aware of in Nova Scotia, I don't know if other provinces do this, they have a table, and they sell books and CDs now too. Like, I don't think it was ever not trying to sell these CDs, but it basically, it's donations people drop off, and then they have a charity they work with. It changes, and 3 books for $5 is good money. So I picked up this week, and a copy of This Star Won't Go Out by Esther Earl, which I have always wanted to read since I heard about it, because I'm a big fan of the spirit of that charity that her parents now run, which, if you're not familiar with, as far as I know, it's still running. This Star Won't Go Out is a charity based out of the US. I don't know if they work with other countries, but it helps support parents for paying for bills while their kids are, especially if they're terminally ill, so that they don't have to decide whether or not to go to work or spend that last 3 months with their kid, which... Yeah, I mean, if there needs to be if it needs to be said that there's a crime with any healthcare system in the world, any, let it be that I don't know of anywhere, and I don't care what kind of healthcare they have. I live in the UK for 6 years. I am Canadian, born and bred. I have never heard of a socialist healthcare system that did that. You know, it's like if your kids are dying, you just have to live with that, and there's no support, and there should be. I mean, there's probably like social workers and stuff like that, you know, but let's be honest, what you need is time. Well, that went dark fast. This is my owl mug. There's an owl on it. Anyway, I was going to talk to you about what I'm going to be doing as far as posting. I also feel like you're very far away and I'm going to have to shout. Probably facing this way doesn't help. I don't know. So a couple of things. Originally when I started this channel, I did something called Fatty to Fitty. That was 10 years ago. A couple of things. I flat out stole that name from Philip DeFranco. And although I would like to bring some version of that back, I don't want it to have that flavor. Like, realistically, I need to lose weight because of medical conditions that are just easier to manage when you weigh less. I have a skin condition called hidradenitis suppurativa. It's not terribly uncommon, as it turns out. I've run into loads of people online now. Loads of people online that have it. Obviously, that's because it's the internet and it's a big melting pot, and therefore you can find the, however many people. It's so weird, isn't it? Like, I found out last year, or the year before? Yeah, the year before last. Yeah. ADHD. Fun times. And so I do the Vyvanse. That really helps. I struggle with depression, but I struggle with the highs and lows, possibly also because of the ADHDs. So I started taking Effexor, and yeah, this is a lot of my personal medical information that I'm just going to put out there because I think it helps some people, and I'll make sure to put hashtags down and we can talk about it. I'm now on Vyvanse, I should say, because it took a while to get approval for Vyvanse. I started off on Ritalin, and then I was on something else. I can't remember what the trade name is. And now I'm on Vyvanse, and also Vyvanse is losing the patent this year, I guess. So maybe that'll start costing less. That's great. For the hidradenitis suppurativa, I was on Humira, which is a biologic, which is an injectable every week. A lot of people who have Crohn's and other inflammatory conditions like that use hidradenitis suppurativa, although it's really weird. Like, there seems to be some indications it's like an immune disorder. It's not an autoimmune disorder. Maybe it's definitely inflammatory. Nobody knows if it's an autoimmune disorder. They haven't decided yet. But it doesn't matter anyway, because then you have to take a biologic to get it to calm down, and then you wind up with a compromised immune system from that. I live in Nova Scotia. Humira now has an equivalent called Julio, which now I'm on a couple of things. If you're looking at switching, either because of price or just the coverage change or whatever, if it's happening in your area. The injector pens are different. They're a lot easier to use. It's not a push button. It literally, you just push and it auto injects. It's really, really slick. No burning sensation, so I was actually able to use infusion sites on my legs, because that's always been a struggle for me. Still hurts, but like nowhere near like it did. The representative from the company thinks it's because it doesn't have citric acid in it. I don't know why it had citric acid in it. She didn't know either, because she used to work for AbbVie that sold it. I would like to say flat out, although a lot of people have issue with Big Pharma, I'm going to say right now, I am using 3 things from Big Pharma that absolutely increase my quality of life. So, they're not great. I think we all have issues with Big Pharma, mostly because of the amount of money. But let's face it, we're also in end-stage capitalism. Which, by the way, when we're calling it end stage, how long is that stage? Like, am I saving for retirement or am I building my arsenal of weapons for the apocalypse? Can we just make a decision? Because if I need to fortify myself against nuclear war and build the kind of skills that are gonna, set me up in the New World Order, I'd like to know now. Although, to be fair, I am disabled, and if we do all wind up speaking Russian in 10 years, and we are going back to communist Russia, I'll probably be cold. I was saying this to somebody the other day, and they swore they'd be chill and keep me in their deep woods encampment. So I'm holding you to that, by the way. Mind you, friends and family say all sorts of things. And it's all about whether the person means it. I mean it every time one of my friends says, hey, could somebody make sure I have a Viking funeral? I have a list. Where I will be arguing my damnedest to your spouse. And if they're gone, your children listen to me. Get in the boat. Get in the boat. I don't know. Anyway, so as far as this channel goes, it occurs to me, and I had mentioned Minty because when I met Minty, she had introduced me as somebody she watches on YouTube. And I was like, oh my god, somebody actually watches that guy with all bots. She's a real human. I saw her in the flesh. And then she was like, happy to see me. That was really cool. Again, this is years and years ago. And the only time it's ever happened. But she identified me as an unboxing channel, and I feel like that absolutely is very true. Like, I really was doing unboxings, I was doing empties, I was doing single reviews of items. Single item reviews, those are words. I was doing that. Because I didn't feel like, I still don't feel like, let me be really honest, that I have a really interesting day-to-day life. And originally when I started posting more, it was because I had joined something called Project Chronicle, which I failed at very quickly because it turns out that if you work from home, you don't have a lot of interesting things to talk about, and I don't feel like posting things unless I have something to say, even if it's just talking out my butt. So a couple of things. I am aware of YouTube's increased tightness as far as words. I mean, that's all social media platforms, let's be honest. I mean, it only really matters if you think you'll ever generate income. But a couple of things. I don't have a terrible voice, I am told, especially when I use my experience that I got very briefly working for a call center. It's about 3 months. The company is much more legit now, in case anybody ever sees my LinkedIn. I personally didn't have a poor experience working for them, beyond just the job and it being the way it is. So, like, no complaints there, they paid well, and it was just, at the time, they were a company that their practices, well, specifically they were under investigation because one individual human decided to do something shady. And it implicated, I wanted to say implied, I words for a living. It implicated the company. And at the time, at the time, I was living in the UK and I didn't have permanent residency, and they also had a history of throwing people under the bus, even if they did things that they were kind of like trained to do, because you weren't trained to do, you had to stick to the script, but don't stick to the script, you know what I mean? Like, if you've ever worked in a call center, it doesn't matter what the company says, because call centers are almost invariably mostly managed and run by young people. I remember I was working there when I was like 25, 20, yeah, 24, 25. I was older than all but one of the managers that I knew on the floor, and he had worked for the company for a long time. I wasn't, I don't think, younger than the owner's kids, although it's hard to say. But they were nice. To be fair, the owner, I was nothing, so I never had either a negative or a positive experience. He was just a guy with a lot of money. He's passed on since. And now, as far as I know, it's owned jointly by the sons, and they really cleaned it up and made sure that everything is above board, because their dad was like a serious 80s businessman, is what I understood it to be, and it's not life anymore. Why is that? Where's the? Oh, I washed that again. Okay. You know when you do something and you're like, what happened? That's my life. What happened? Okay, I'm gonna put cutlery away, and also the goldfinch wasn't heavy enough. Okay, let's I'm gonna put you up here. You'll fall in a minute, I'm sure. I'm gonna put some cutlery away. Wow, if only I'd known that cupboards could be tripods. I would have literally been on the internet, even as I said it. Actually, I might leave you guys there for a minute while I do the rest of the dishes. Anyway, so all of that to say that I learned that I have a good phone voice, and it's a little nerve-wracking because of all of the good AI now, right? I think we all know that everything is potentially gonna get a little bit sketchy as far as did this person really do this work for the next little while until some legislation happens? Are they gonna legislate against, using AI for literally every job? And then we all, humans, us, have to then just resort to selling pictures of our feet on the internet. Yeah, but also it's important that they're going to have to be real weird, because during the pandemic, the vanilla gross feet, well, no, I'm sorry, if you're into feet, that's your thing. I apologize. But the vanilla feet picture market is fully saturated. Did I? Yeah, of course I did. Of course I started at OnlyFans for my feet. And then I didn't know how to promote it, and then nobody looked at it. I'm not the only one. Shut up. Listen, we thought the world was ending. We didn't know what was happening. Don't judge me. But also, right, if you are watching this and you understand how to do OnlyFans without your parents finding out, could you just tell us all? Could you just put that in the down? Yeah. Because it kills me, because realistically, I feel like that's the only thing. I feel like that honestly is the only thing. For the most of us who would do OnlyFans especially, there's this one creator I follow. I don't even know that she does lives. She just sort of films. She's just you know what? I'm going to give me some love. While I'm doing that, I'm going to film. And then some other people can also be giving themselves some love while I'm giving myself some love. But she also had a following beforehand of more than 102 people, 50% of which, again, probably bots. But also, if at any point in time I'm saying this and you're not a bot, could you comment, which I understand is me asking you for engagement, which I think is really where I've always followed. I've always fallen in this medium, is that I don't ask for engagement because I feel really weird about it. Probably because I was looking at this platform before subscriptions were a thing. I have been a viewer of YouTube since pretty much the very beginning. The Chris Crocker days. From the beginning of the 21st century. What are we calling it? The aughts? Are we calling it the aughts? We're still in the, could we not call this the roaring 20s? I think this is just the unprecedented 20s at this point. Yeah. And when we're talking about precedented times, could it be the times that are precedented not like Nazi Germany? Because I'm a little nervous that that might be where we're going, where we cull off all the people who aren't good. And then I've been seeing all of this stuff about like made in Canada. That's a completely other thing that I think we should talk about. Like, I'd like to talk about it. I don't know a lot about it. I mean, I absolutely believe the spirit of the bill is absolutely not how it's being used. I would like to say that right now. And that's one problem with the Canadian system is that the federal government will say, these are the things that you can do. The federal government says, these are your things, these are your tools. And then each individual province goes, I mean, I know that that's a drill. You gave me a drill. But I'm going to use it as a hammer because that's how Canadian healthcare works. Every time somebody's like, thanks, Trudeau, about Canadian healthcare, I'm just like, you live in Ontario. I'm sorry. Thank you, Doug Ford, and whoever his minister is. Because that's who is to thank. Like, I live in Nova Scotia. Thanks, Tim Houston, for fixing our healthcare that you said you were going to do despite the Liberals dicking it up. Except that you also didn't hire any doctors. Because, yeah, and then you took the person who was in charge, who was a doctor of our healthcare, and you hired this lady you knew from business. And this is the thing. The more that I work in the industry that I work in, doing transcription, you learn a lot about a lot of different things. And one of the things you, of course, have hammered home so much is that healthcare is at the heart. It is a business. That is true. But you could operate like a nonprofit business and not like Walmart. I'm just saying that. Which is unfortunately where Ontario is right now, where it's being operated like a terrible Walmart in a bad neighborhood that nobody goes to. We all know that Walmart. We all know that Walmart. This is not about Walmart as a business. I don't have to like you as a business. You're a business. That's fine. Some Walmarts are great. Some people love their local Walmart and they treat their staff really well. I live in Nova Scotia. I'm not going to say all the Walmart's terrible. But I will say, well, first I'm going to clean my stove. You can't see that I'm doing that, but I'm doing that. In case you're hearing a noise, I'm wiping the stove. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is why Beatrice does this. Because I don't have a human, and my dad's out of town, and my mom's currently out. So I don't have a human to prattle to. So I prattle to the dogs, but you saw what happens when I talk to Odie. He's basically Pepe Le Pew. So, anyway, I got completely off topic. What I really wanted to do was do an update about what I was going to be doing with this channel, and that's what I'm going to do now. So, in case you're wondering, will it be any less random? No, it's going to be just as random. I can't promise I'm going to post anymore. I'm going to try. I'm filming things. And, I'm actually also filming on a second channel that is just a slow TV situation where, maybe you need office noises in the background. You need to hear somebody typing. Yeah, I'm going to put the link below. Will you watch it? You can if you want. Do you have to? No, it'd be cool if you did. Also, I am going to be posting just not a time lapse because it was real time. I videoed it. I think it'll be really fun to just sort of like post there when I'm working on certain projects, just to really show people how much time certain pieces of handwork actually take. So I had some scrap yarn from doing a pair of linen socks for my brother that I plied, and then I turned into a soap saver and also a nice linen washcloth, which I'm very excited to use. And So I did that and I filmed it while I was doing it so that I had an idea of how long those sorts of projects actually take. Because that's the other thing, right? I always see people selling like hand knit washcloths for like $3. And it's like, how long did that take you? Because I know it takes me a couple hours to do a washcloth. And most people, when they're selling them, they really just want to recoup the cost of the materials. But also, nobody has any respect for how long it takes. And I think it would be a really interesting and fun thing to be able to do if I could literally, when somebody asked how long it took, I could actually give them a time. And then for other people, I'm going to say this. There are people in my life who are worthy of things that I've made by hand. And having a better idea and grasp of how long it takes me to make something gives me a better idea of whether or not somebody in my life is a person that is worthy of that time. And it's interesting to me the people in my life who are worthy of it because either they appreciate it or they actually use the object or they take care of the object appropriately, which I understand is a really judgy way to put it. But like ultimately, if I'm going to put in that time, and it is time for a hand knit object to make something for you, I want to know that you're going to value it to that level. And if you're not, I'll find you something else that you'll value because I am putting in that level of work because I value that much. I value you that much, whoever you are, that theoretical person. So I value you that much, that hours of work to make some socks or whatever. I value you that much. If you, don't value the object that much, because it doesn't mean that much to you, then I have misjudged the thing I have done for you. That's what I'm saying. And that's pretty much it. That's not where that goes. Not that, I always think it's really hard because, like, for some people, it's, I don't know, it's an equation of, like, will somebody value the object? I don't think it's about not valuing the object. It's just, it's not something they would have valued no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just not something that means a lot for them. For some people, socks are a utility object. Dishcloths are a utility object. Dishcloths, I'm always happy to give. Always happy to give. But nobody wants to pay what they're worth. And for me, as an intermediate skilled knitter, if I was working a trade, I would be making $40 an hour. Okay, I know some people who definitely class as like master knitters, master spinners. If they were blacksmiths, no, I'm gonna say this actually, no, nobody would play it. And blacksmiths are still a thing, and nobody would pay them what they're actually worth when you consider the training and everything involved. A knitter and a crocheter puts as much time in. We just don't acknowledge it because they're doing it at home. They're not typically learning in an apprenticeship environment. But if we looked at how much designer brands, if they're selling like and they're never selling a handmade sweater. I don't think they're ever selling a handmade sweater, but if they are selling a handmade sweater, they're selling them for hundreds of dollars, if not thousands. And if the artisan who makes it is actually getting that amount, that's amazing. If they're paying that person the amount of work that they're actually doing, that's amazing. Good on ya. And I would say like that is almost really the peak, honestly. But I just don't think most people understand the amount of work. And I, as a knitter, don't really understand the amount of work that I put into an object because, especially for me, I very rarely sit down and just knit. Or if I do, like I'm listening to a podcast or something, like it's a leisure activity for me. It's for my mental health. It changes up the repetitive motion I'm using in my hands. It's part of what keeps my wrists loose for my work. Just changing up the movements. Very important. I have been talking for too long. I don't even know how long this video is. How long is... Oh, wow, you is long. Anyway, all that is to say, things are going to be different. Yeah. So I was gonna say, I'm probably gonna break this up into 2 or 3 parts. Actually, if I'm smart, I should put this up because no one's gonna want to watch an hour of me prattling and doing dishes and apparently inhaling grossly through my nose. Okay, so what I was trying to get to though is that I started as an unboxing channel, which is true, and a little bit of a lifestyle channel, which is true. And I was trying to be a vlogging channel to an extent, because I'm not meaning to gesture with this knife. Oh God, that's probably gonna get the spam. There was a knife in the video. It's a paring knife, but you know, you could stab somebody with it. I said stab. Oh man, this video is definitely getting blocked. Anyway, but the thing of it is, and this is very important, I watch all kinds of content, and there used to be this thing. It used to totally be this thing where, you know, somebody would have their lifestyle channel and their makeup channel and their blah, blah, blah channel. Me, I was never into that personally, because if you have one channel, I can follow one channel. If you have 5 channels, I'm not following all those. Also, why are you making 5 channels other than we know that it used to be different? And well, I mean, also you probably have an editing team. I don't even edit for me, which I probably should, but you know, it is what it is. And yeah, so it used to be an unboxing channel. I will be a review channel again. I have a load of empties to go through. I canceled my subscription for BoxyCharm, which I kept through I'm going to say the majority of the pandemic, because again, I work kitty corner with health professionals for my job, and they all say we are not endemic yet because it keeps morphing. Also, God only knows what's going to come next. Oh, and also, if you're not following, it's not monkeypox anymore, it's something else. Not that it's not still the same disease, it's just not called that anymore because people were being racist. And in case you're wondering why we switched to variants with numbers for names, it's because people kept being racist. If you have a question about why anything had to change an amazing amount of times as far as phrasing in the last 2 years, just presume the answer is because racist. Yeah. So anyway, I will be bringing something back here that talks about how I'm doing health-wise, be it mental health, physical health, because I am working on that. I'm not just wearing athleisure wear for fun. It really is part of my mental trick, and I need to get back into exercise. I will be canceling my gym membership that I have at Fit for Less because I just don't get there. The bar is too high, and I'm paying not a lot of money a month, but $20 a month, I'm gonna instead put towards something that makes more sense, which is investing in stuff for me to work out at home, because I do actually like to work out at home. I'm gonna say that if you need to get back into it, I would like to super recommend Grow with Jo. She is so happy. She is an amazing Canadian creator. I don't know where she is. She lives in the most gorgeous building I've ever seen, and it looks tropical. And I thought she was in Florida, but I guess she's in Toronto or Vancouver or somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. What I'm going to tell you, though, is every workout that I have done with her online, or even I have the app. Did I re-up the app? I can't remember. Anyway, but like she's always smiling, and not like a fake smile. Like this is just a happy human. And also, if you follow her workouts online, then you can watch her give her dog love sometimes, which is really adorable. Her beginner stuff is really great. It's mostly walking workouts, which honestly were what I needed, because oh, yeah. On top of everything else, I have something called reactive arthritis, which had a different name, but it turns out, don't look that up because Nazis. But now I guess it's confusing to me because I think she called it peripheral arthritis. But basically, what it means is sometimes when I get sick, I have an arthritis flare, and anywhere between 1 and 5 of my joints will light up and swell and be almost unusable. Thankfully, that hasn't happened since I started the Humira years ago because biologics are really powerful anti-inflammatories. That's part of what they do. Um, Thank God, because then it means that it's not progressed. And I don't have to start doing methotrexate like my buddy who's got the really bad arthritis. Because, although to be fair, I heard the steps were methotrexate then a biologic, but I don't know. Um, yeah, that's right. I was going to say, yeah, Julio, decent experience. HS, I mean, honestly, my dose went up. So for a lot of HS patients, the working dose, and if you have Crohn's, this might sound crazy to you. The working dose is 80 milligrams, micrograms a week. So that's 2 injections every week. So in case you were wondering, on the Humira, that is somewhere in the region of $40,000 or $50,000 worth of medication a year. I get that through Pharmacare because I don't make a lot of money in Nova Scotia. And hopefully I get to continue having coverage because I had a really good year last year and I can't remember what the cap is. And then I guess I'd have to go off it for a year because I don't have health insurance because I am a single woman who is self employed. And when I looked in my 20s at buying insurance for myself, I was told it would be 300 and something a month. You know, I couldn't afford that then. And now I'm almost 40. And also, you know, with the constant threat of nuclear war, it seems a little bit like a poor idea, and maybe I should just be investing in bottle caps. Anyway, what else? Oh, I streamed a little bit on Twitch through the pandemic. I put a couple videos up on this channel. You may or may not have seen. Um, Despite what it looks like, it's literally because I just haven't made time to game for a long time because I just am trying to work on work-life balance. And also, yeah, I just haven't gamed in a while. I've been doing well, I haven't video gamed. I have in fact been participating in two D&D groups. The old campaign that my friends and I have been working on for God, it's 6 or 7 years now. Amazing. Um, it just occurred to me because it was like my one friend. It was just after they had their kid. Yeah, she was just a little, or maybe she was pregnant with their second. I can't remember. It was a while ago. 6 or 7 years, and we're up to level 10 now. But we also had to switch to other. We had other We took like a year off where we did other campaigns, and other people DM'd because our regular DM was too busy doing Navy stuff. And then he had to go actually like go and do Navy stuff, and none of us liked that. None of us liked that. I mean, he liked it, but he likes the Navy. But we were all like, when you go away, it gets nerve-wracking. Also, nobody wants him to go away right now because, you know, threats of nuclear war. What else? So, yeah, unboxings will be a thing. I'm going to be bringing back the Empty series. I'm reusing boxes from various things. I will just do like a random breakdown at some point in time of Woof. What's it? What do we get now? We don't get Bark Box. We get Wolf Crate now. We stopped getting Bark Box. I'm gonna say this is right at the end of the video. I'm Canadian. My eldest dog, Socks, is allergic to chicken, rabbit, and duck. So those three things are very common. So she can have pork, she can have beef, she can have fish. Like the other dog at the time was only Banner, and Banner doesn't like fish. Banner literally only likes liver treats. Like that's his jam. So it was very difficult to find treats that they would both eat. Now, you might ask yourself, what about Odie? Odie's the new guy. We have yet to find something that Odie will not at least try to eat. Some of that is food. Some of it is, rocks and things. He is a beagle. He is the beagliest beagle that ever beagled. To the point where, like, his scenting abilities are next to none. He can pick up a scent on the snow. He's following his own scent. Okay, he is following his own scent around the yard in his patrol, but he can find it. Yeah. So I canceled BoxyCharm. A couple of reasons. Main one for me being that since they're doing something right now. They were bought by Ipsy last year or the year before, and I think all of us who had used Ipsy previously and did not enjoy Ipsy anymore were waiting for this to happen if you were a BoxyCharm user. And that is that they are now, I guess, migrating stuff over to the Ipsy site. Not really sure what's going on there. And if I'm really honest, I don't care. I don't. I didn't have a great experience with Ipsy years ago because I kept getting stuff from this one particular brand called Medusa's Makeup, which other people had great time with and got great product and they really enjoyed it. I received like 3 products from them. One was a completely dried out mascara. One was a lip gloss that smelled like varnish. It smelled like it had gone off. It looked like it had gone off. And when I got in touch with them, did I even bother to get in touch with them? I don't think I bothered, honestly, because, like, either it was meant to be like that or it wasn't. It wasn't broken. Honestly, there were other people that had it, and they were like, this doesn't smell great. So it led me to believe that either globally all the products that they had received in that shipment from that company weren't good, or maybe that's just the smell they had. And looking back on it now, the mascara that I had from them was probably a tubing mascara because it reeked. And I now know that tubing mascaras smell like gross fish, which is fine as long as you know. And it's because of the silicone, because they're making silicone tubes, and that's fine. But you need to know that because maybe you're allergic. But it was completely dried out anyway. But honestly, my issue is just that the products, they would always be like, oh, it's little things from Tarte and MAC and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I received like 15 different products from Starry Looks, which I don't have a problem with. It was nice stuff. I mean, I had several things that I really liked from them. I had several things that I really liked from, like, Cala Cosmetics and stuff like that. I didn't like how small the samples would be. And considering that Ipsy was not that much cheaper than other things, the only thing that made it great was that you could get it in Canada. And I wasn't the only one. And also the bags, okay? You just get a wash in the bags. So Ipsy has bought BoxyCharm. And I have noticed that, since they have bought BoxyCharm, as much as they are saying that there are all of these top tier brands, they're in the shop. But I have yet, don't get me wrong. When I get the Boxy Luxe, they're Luxe. But the regular, actually, that was the thing. Yeah, I got the premium one. It was not a higher tier of stuff than the regular one. And in fact, I was finding a lot more indie brands that when I would look them up, they weren't, I didn't. The Luxe, you know what? Once a quarter, great. My last one has been paid for. I canceled the membership today. So now I'm going to play the fun game of, I canceled the membership today. They're still going to send that, right? I think. But also, I don't know what's happening with anybody else's, but mine, I'm not getting, well, I didn't even get shipping information for January, and then my box just got lost by the time I got shipping information, so that was a pain. But more so than anything, the thing that really was troublesome is that I'll get shipping information on like the 9th, and then they won't actually ship the Canadian boxes, it seems like, until like the 14th or the 15th. So you're not shipping the boxes until middle, sometimes the end of the month. And so they lost, the January box got lost in the mail. And for me, the point of it is the stuff. Like they gave me a refund, but is it just me, or there's always like a bunch of like mystery boxes? And so like I would have preferred that. Like I would have preferred if they said just like, you know, or just like they sent a refund. That was nice. I didn't have a problem with that. It was just like they took so long and it was very confusing. So like I waited until 10 days after the last posting of any information, and then I got in touch with them, and then they said I had to wait a further 10 days. And then when I got an email, and it was like, we haven't heard from you. And so I was like, I responded, and I said, okay, well, here's my address and stuff. I didn't respond because I was told I had to wait a further 10 days, business days. And so it wasn't until the middle of February until I could even put the ticket through. And they're like, yeah, the January boxes are gone. Yeah, no kidding. Because your policy does not reflect international, because you're saying 10 business days. And I let you know it had been 10 business days, and then you told me to wait 10 more business days. And meh. Wasn't particularly impressed with Canada Post on that one either, because apparently it went in a truck to come to my house on a day that we had weather, never got scanned back in. Gone. Like, there wasn't an error. Don't tell me there was an error. Tell me where it went back to. Because it didn't get scanned back in. So it's just on a truck somewhere? Is that going to show up sometime? Am I going to be expected to pay for that? Did somebody take that home? We'll never know. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Canada Post is now using contractors, using their own vehicles now. Yeah. Anyway, that's an aside. I'm going to be doing something I needed to cancel anyway, because honestly, I'm not wearing a lot of makeup lately. When I am wearing, I'm trying to enjoy my collection. I did a huge clean out last year, and got rid of a bunch of product. I'm going to try and remember to do that every 6 months, go through. If anything looks sketchy, get rid of it. Mostly that's lip products. I'm a ridiculous human, and if a powder product looks the same and smells the same and doesn't look off, I'm not gonna get rid of it if I still like it. Yes, I'm that person. I am realizing that there's a couple of palettes that I own that have like I still have the Nikkie Tutorials palette from Too Faced. I don't buy from Too Faced anymore because, well, it wasn't great. That wasn't her fault. There's a couple of shadows in there that are really nice and I like. The highlight was weird, but like even she said that after the fact, years later. We don't need to touch on that. I still have that palette. I should definitely start depotting palettes and getting rid of shadows that I'm just never gonna use because they're not a quality that I like, or they're not a color I'm gonna use. I should probably do that. Maybe I'll do that one day. All that is to say, I don't have a beauty subscription service right now. I am, however, getting a couple of book subscription services. So if you've made it this far and you want to hear about that, I'm going to be talking about BookBox Canada, which is somebody that I found off of TikTok, and I'm really excited for the horror box. I even bought the romance box for March for my mom, the single book, because I think she'll enjoy it. She's much more of like a romance, like beach read kind of a human. And I've also been getting Book of the Month, which is an American company, smaller authors. All the books seem about the same size, which is good, like a totally reasonable. If you were a book lover, you can read it in a day. If you're a book lover and you have too many things on your plate, maybe you'll read a book in 3 months. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm currently reading a book called The Last Apothecary. I'm very excited. And I actually, if I remember correctly, I ordered another book written by the same author. And I'm very excited for that because I'm really enjoying The Lost Apothecary. The Lost Apothecary. Which is kind of like, it's sort of a historical, it's definitely a fiction. It's interesting. It's not a thriller, but it's not a thriller. I don't think it's a romance. I don't know. It's a fiction. I'm reading a fiction. It's not like a fantasy or a sci-fi. I'm reading like one of those books like book club people would read. Except I like it. And occasionally I do run into those. Yeah. The beagles are sleeping bum to bum. That is Banner, if you can hear that. I think. Let me check. Socks is also asleep. Oh yes, that's Banner. And then Odie always likes to sleep. If I can show you. He always likes to sleep on something.